we are what we eat. And particularly in times like these when everyone is nutritious, conscious, and attempting to eat best foods, this is timely so that we can advise and inform, particularly our parents, the type of food that they should prepare for their children, and how to prepare it so that those children would be properly nourished, particularly in times like these when we need to ensure that our children not only well nourished but well educated. And the education starts with nourishment when you ensure that they are well fed so that they can be comfortable and healthy to accept all that is being fed to them, not only in school, but even here at the Fire Services Youth Club. Very many years ago, someone whom we all know, or should know, was asked by his followers, teach us how to pray. And part of that prayer said, give us this day our daily bread. So even at that time, when that special person was teaching us how to pray, he included the nourishment aspect of life. As part of that prayer said, give us this day our daily bread. Earlier, when the prayer was being said, part of it spoke about discipline, tolerance, and respect, the watchwords of the Fire Services Youth Club. And I want to leave with you today, members of the Fire Services Youth Club, that you ought to take those three words very seriously. And when we say discipline, discipline is an overarching word that carries our lives with us. And when I say carry our lives with us, everything we do from when we get up on a morning to when we go to bed at night is governed by discipline. And we ought not to allow that discipline to be forced upon us. It ought to be self-discipline. We develop certain virtues and values because of that discipline. We speak about tolerance, and it's one of our watchwords, one of our national watchwords. You need to be tolerant with your neighbor, because you must remember that we all have to live together in harmony, and we must accept the errors and mistakes of others as we would want them to accept ours. And in that same prayer I spoke to you about, when someone whom we all know guided us in praying 2,000 years ago, part of that prayer says as well, forgive us our trespasses, meaning forgive us those mistakes we make, and asking to be forgiven as we forgive those who trespass against us. So we are expected to forgive as well. And this is what this tolerance is all about, so that we can live together in harmony. And you also speak about respect. Respect for others and respect for yourselves. So that when decision time comes, you can say, no, I cannot do that. I have too much respect for myself and I have too much respect for others. And little things that we do would allow us to demonstrate that respect. We have lost the normal greeting as part of that discipline and respect. On a morning, you're going down the street and you see someone, good morning, sir, good morning, ma'am, or just good morning. Be courteous to others. You know, I recall very clearly, I grew up on Nelson Street in Port of Spain, and I attended Nelson Street Boys. But I grew up at a time when there's the adage that it takes a village to raise a child. At that time, that was being demonstrated. So all my mother's friends, you know, not like now when you call them aunties, you used to call them tanti. Tanti this and tanti that. And I was sure that all my mother's friends, all my tanties, were present to see me do something wrong at all times. And those tanties had the authority to scold me and to drop a belt or two on my back. And the respect was engendered in such a way. And I tell the story of my two brothers and I walking down Nelson Street to go to school. And one of my tanties, Tanti Rhoda, is sitting there. Those days were backyard, and she's selling, you know, little sweets and fruits and like what you see there, plums and chestnut and tamarind and things like that. And when we walk down in the morning, we have to say, "Morning, Tanti Rhoda. Coming up lunchtime for lunch. Afternoon, Tanti Rhoda." About 40 minutes after, going back down to school after lunch, because those days we go home for lunch and go back to school. "Good afternoon, Tanti Rhoda." But in the afternoon, 3 o'clock when school is out, and we are coming up Nelson Street, Tanti Rhoda closes half of the gate because the sun is now hitting her, and she's sitting behind the gate. Now, if you're coming down Nelson Street, you'll see her. But if you're coming up, you have to look behind the gate. Say, "Good afternoon, Tanti Rhoda." And the day you don't do that, well, my elder brother was the second one, he would get the carpet, the tap, for passing Auntie Rhoda and not telling her good afternoon. Now, we have done it 3 times for the day already. But that was the level of respect and discipline that was instilled in us at that time. And not being satisfied with that, she'll tell my mother, "Olga, the boys pass and then tell me good afternoon." So that was a routine thing, and we grew up doing that. All I'm saying here, we need to practice that a little more. Our parents need to instill that in our children a little more, those values and those virtues that make us better citizens of Trinidad and Tobago. There are a lot of opportunities extended to young people, and we as parents must ensure that we guide our children in those areas. It is incumbent upon us as parents, as elders, to ensure that our young people are given all the material that is necessary for them to be successful in life. Part of it is the nutrition aspect, and that is why this food fair is held here today. But together with that, we must ensure that we give them all the other attributes that are necessary to ensure that we are justly proud of them, that they themselves are proud of themselves and contribute positively to Trinidad and Tobago.